President, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for inviting us all here today. This is the 11th year of the Skilled Migrant Program. It's pretty wonderful, really. Thanks to everybody's efforts here. We're still going. And before I introduce the class members today, I would like to mention and thank all the people who have been involved in this current intake. But first of all, a little bit of background about the program. Lee suggested that I talk a little bit about the program and how it started because there are some new members. And here's a photograph. Some of you are in it. Not all of you by a long shot because it was just those people on that particular day who were here and could stay for the photograph. But this was a photograph that was taken about 4 years ago of all the people who were here, who were involved in the Skilled Migrant Program. And this was put in, this was a Dom Post article. But the course began in 2005 as a result of census data from the 2001 census, which showed that there was a huge number of skilled migrants, either unemployed or underemployed, and this was seen to be a huge waste of resource for New Zealand. And so in time, our course began with the brief to address this issue of trying to help skilled migrants into the workforce. The course is 12 weeks long, 6 weeks classroom study of communication skills, job search skills, interview skills, and then 6 weeks in an internship work experience in each skilled migrant's particular background. We have participants from all over the world, non-native speakers of English, although many people who attend this program have spoken English in their workplace all of their working life. They come from over 22 countries: Asia, Europe, Africa, the Middle East, South America, the Philippines, India, many, many countries. And the professions of the participants also vary enormously: law, medicine, engineering, accounting, IT, business analysis, public relations, management, marketing and communications, banking, education, HR, finance, policy, and there's probably several more that I haven't mentioned. On the current intake, we have people from 7 or 8 countries, and there are only 2 people who have the same background, same professional background. And a cost-benefit analysis that Jeff Baskind and John Preble did several years ago showed that for every $1 spent on this program, there's a $98 return for the country. And that's an amazing statistic, really. And it's because, essentially, that skilled migrants come to New Zealand with their education complete, so there's no cost there. They're adults, so there's not all the health costs involved in a growing child. They come ready to contribute after perhaps 3 months on the Skilled Migrant Program. So that's probably enough about the background. Now I would like to thank all the people involved in this program. First of all the guest tutors who come along every single week to practice mostly job interview skills. And that many of these people have been coming along for 11 years now, each week. And many graduates of this program attribute their success in subsequent job interviews to all the practice they had week after week with members of this club. So Helen Algar, Stephen Brown, Brian Hassel, Janie Kakoldi, Dennis Kakoldi's wife, Peter Lawson, John Melville, Andrew Miller, Joan Smith, and Tony White, who is Heather Hayden's husband. And here I have some pictures of the guest tutors working with the skilled migrants. And here's Helen interviewing someone. Not only interviewing, but giving feedback, either during or after, which was fantastic. There's Helen in our classroom. And Janie Kakoldi. For this, because our classroom's not big enough to have a lot of people working at the same time, I managed to persuade my colleagues all around Victoria to lend me their offices for a week, for an hour or so. So that's in somebody's office. And there's Joan Smith working with a member of the class, and Stephen Brown, and Tony White, Heather Hayden's husband, and Brian Hassel, and Peter Lawson, and John Melville, And before we begin the interview session, there's a general time for mingling and practicing small talk, which is another feature of New Zealand communication that skilled migrants often feel they can't participate in because they don't know what to say. So there's practice with the guest tutors before we start the interview. So here people are probably discussing a CV, I think, or probably thinking, now where has Nikki put us this week? This is a wonderful opportunity for people to get to know and to extend their networks. So that's one part of the program. And I would also now like to thank all the people who've come along as guest lecturers on this program: Helen Algar, Rhys Barlow, Peter Lawson, Brian Lynch, Lady Susan Sachinand and Sir Anand Sachinand, Carol Stigley, Lee Wilkinson and Anissa Galinovich from the Johnson Group, who is here today. Great to see you here. And here are photographs of them in action. There's Helen talking about interview tips. And Sir Anand and Lady Susan Sachinand talking about governance in New Zealand and what it means to be a New Zealander. And Peter Lawson, I've retitled yours, by the way, Peter. I've called it Pick Me. Pick Me Interview Techniques at Work. So here he is modelling for us, probably, I'm not sure. Probably saying this is the employer's response to your question, to your answer. Brian Lynch talks about New Zealand in the world with his map of New Zealand, map of the world with New Zealand in the middle. And Rhys Barlow talking about sport in New Zealand. And Lee Wilkinson thinking on your feet. And there are 3 things we could say about your talk. And some of these guest lecturers, as with the guest tutors, have been coming along, or most of them have been coming along for 11 years now. That's twice a year for 11 years. Pretty fantastic. Oh, and sorry, and Carol Stigley, what employers want. What do employers in New Zealand really want? What is it? You know, it's so confusing. And also mentors. Mentors who have agreed, members of the club who have agreed to be a job search buddy for graduates of this program and to be with them for 6 months or until the participant finds a job. And it's really great to see people time after time offering to be a mentor and to just help those difficult transition times when people are searching for a job. I also am very grateful to people who have been mentors in the past and I know who are still in touch with their protégés. That's fantastic, that kind of contact. Because you can imagine coming to a new country, especially a country where English is not spoken, and you're completely without networks. There's just nobody here who knows you. You'll see when I introduce the class that many people on this current intake have an extensive experience in their professions, but they come here and they're completely unknown. So the connection with people in the club is absolutely fantastic. And the mentors for the current group, John Boshier, Jeff Eads, Rob Davison, Grant Foggo, Hewitt Humphrey, Jane McCann, Andrew Miller, Murray Milner, Yusuf Mora, Jeff Shaw and Mark Stevens. So thank you very much. I'd like to thank the Vocational Service Committee, Richard Norman, the Chair. Thank you for your oversight of this program. Derek Gill, the Mentor Coordinator. Thank you, Derek. And thank you also to Patrick McArdle, who has assisted Derek in finding mentors for the current group. Thank you to Lee Johnson and the Johnson Group and all the team at the Johnson Group, yes, including Danisa, who have found internships for each group and for the current group also. The internship part of this program is crucial. It's when people get to know how we work in New Zealand, what the workplace practices are, how people communicate with each other, and just get a feel of what their skills can offer in this environment in New Zealand. So thank you very much. It's really difficult finding internships, and you do a great job. Thank you. And thank you to all the members of the club who have helped source internships as well. I know that's an ongoing thing that you all help with. And here's a list of all the internship organisations since we started in 2004 who have a connection with the club. I won't read them all out, but here they all are. Many of these organisations have taken interns on several occasions, and some of the graduates of this program are now working, have ongoing work in those organisations. And here are supporters of the Skilled Migrant Program since 2005. It's almost the entire club now, but I'm sort of pleased to see there's a few more people that are not on this list. So I counted it up. We've got over 110 members of this club have been involved in one way or other with the Skilled Migrant Program since then, and sometimes some people every year, and in many capacities. So I'm very grateful to that, to you for that. And now I'd like to introduce the current members of the Skilled Migrant Program. First of all, Anju Vijaya Lakshmi. Anju is from India and has a background in human resources and recruitment and administration, and is looking for work in that area. And at the moment she's having her internship at Pharmac, another organisation where has some connection with the club. And Daniel Letta, who's from Ethiopia. Daniel is a business analyst with SAP skills and knowledge, and also experience in web design. At the moment he's having his internship at the Department of Conservation in their IT team. And Kayoko Komori from Japan. Kayoko has an extensive background in marketing and marketing communications and account management and project management. Has lived for several years in Singapore, where she handled major advertising campaigns for Japanese companies. And she at the moment is at MB, having her internship. And Nga Do. Nga is from Vietnam. She is a specialist in procurement with at least 18 years experience in procurement in Vietnam. A lot of international projects have been the basis of her experience, so she's worked with many people from all around the world in that period. Also project management and contract management. And at the moment she's having the opportunity to show her skills at Education Payroll Limited, which is NovoPay's replacement. Avanti Gatu, also from India. Avanti's background is in HR and recruitment and administration, and that's the area she wants to move into here. And she's having her internship at the Environmental Protection Authority, EPA. And Bhavya Ranj Gowda from India has her specialty in web development and some other more complex things that I'm not so familiar with. PHP, but people who know this area would know this kind of thing very well. And web content management with the systems that are listed underneath there. And she at the moment is at Maritime New Zealand, which I know has had some connections with the club. Eva Bektier from Poland has a extensive background in marketing and sales and account management and online media. She is also a LinkedIn specialist and was Poland's representative for LinkedIn in the few years before she came to New Zealand. She's having her internship at MB in the settlement unit. Nizar Jabbar from Jordan. Nizar is a telecommunications engineer, has worked in the Middle East for several years, and now has come to New Zealand to join his New Zealand wife. And he's at Team Talk, which is a telecommunications company. Carissa Paramita, who we call Mita, is from Indonesia, and she's a multimedia journalist with a background in communications, marketing, and administration, and her internship is at Springload, which is an IT company. Meta Wongcharapan from Thailand. Meta is an economist with a lot of experience in agricultural economic analysis. He's worked also in the US as an economist, and now is in New Zealand with his family. He's having his internship at the New Zealand Institute of Economic Research. And Marta Fonseca from Portugal is a civil engineer with a lot of training and experience in the health and safety area. She worked mainly in the construction area, and that's the kind of work she'd like to do in New Zealand. At the moment she's having her internship at WorkSafe New Zealand, so she's learning about health and safety from the other side of the relationship, you might say. And Ruchira Arya Singh from Sri Lanka is a systems engineer and a systems administrator, and he's not here today because he has a job, he's found a job in Christchurch. So, outcomes for graduates in total. Since 2005, we've had now 192 graduates, not counting this group, and it remains fairly constant. About 75 to 80% of them are in their professional areas, which is fantastic. And I'm very hopeful for the current group as well that their outcomes would be just as good. So, future of the program, it's looking good. We have just very recently heard we have funding from MB until June 2016, which is fantastic, with an opportunity to extend the contract for another year. We're going to start the next course in July, and I've already received a lot of applications that we will start going through the selection process. We usually get many, many more applicants than we can take, so it's a question of interviewing and selecting. So, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for everybody's help on this program. I am enormously grateful, and I know the skilled migrants are enormously grateful. I couldn't run this program without you. It just wouldn't be the same, and the outcomes wouldn't be the same. So, I'm deeply appreciative, and thank you very much again.